Hi guys, so basically I made a video here as you can see on Amnesia, but I didn't actually record any audio behind it. I don't know what was going on. I think Shadowplay screwed up or something. I'm not entirely sure, but I just wanted to talk about a few things during this video. First off, basically, the actual game, Amnesia, I just wanted to gush about it for a little bit, saying how much I love it, things like that. So let's start off. Basically, Amnesia was a really good game. Still is, really, all things considered. I just wanted to talk about, what this game did for the PC market at the time. Now, bearing in mind when this came out, and I don't really know when it came out, I think it was early 2010s, I think. I'm not too sure, but pardon me, sorry. This was basically a time when the market was saturated with these first-person shooter games on console. Like, everything was going really, really well for the console market there. This was booming. We had all these first-person shooters, these games companies were really, really making a lot of money for themselves. And this was the direction that we could pretty much see the games industry going. But along came Frictional Games, a Swedish developer. I'm pretty sure they're a Swedish developer with this game. Now, with the lack of focus on horror games, we pretty much assumed that the horror games scene died out, really, with Resident Evil. Shame that, considering Resident Evil 7's release recently. But yeah, we pretty much assumed by then that horror had pretty much died. Well, as far as actual true horror goes, not the survival horror with the zombies and things like that, whatever. And this game just really, really set the bar for many other horror games to come then during these the 2010s to 2015, 16 period. The one thing I loved about this game is its sheer immersion. It even says from the beginning of the game here that you shouldn't approach this game with a completionist approach. It should just be played for complete immersion and the realization of the storyline. And it was amazing what it did. It was simple, very, very simple. Now, even the graphics for the game at the time weren't really cutting edge. But what was cutting edge was the whole thing behind this game, was the whole motivation to play this game. It was totally different from everything else. You didn't have a means to defend yourself. It was about solving puzzles, just getting through the game, taking in its environments, the sounds that you hear, because the sound design in this game is really, really well done. I cannot specify that enough, especially as someone who would love to get into sound design for games, if as a profession, as well as entertaining people for YouTube and things like that. And it was just awesome. It absolutely boomed. One thing I'd like to get onto as well, another topic which really, really helped Amnesia out during its time, was the whole PewDiePie thing that came about. Like, PewDiePie even says that this game was the baby of his channel. It got him to where he is today. It really, really boosted his channel, got him so many subscribers, and I can understand why. YouTube at the time was filled with vloggers, people that were just generally talking about what was going on the internet at the time. And along came PewDiePie with this different approach. You know, people played games on YouTube, but it was all like Call of Duty and things like that, and that was growing a bit stale. It takes quite a big personality, even like these days, to make a COD-based channel. I mean, I'm not saying that he is a COD-based channel, but Merc Music does some really good COD videos, as well as Mally 13 as well. I'm not plugging these guys. This is just people that I've come across that I do actually really like, who just so happen to make COD content. But yeah, COD content was going stale at the time because we didn't have these personalities on board that really knew how to drive the game to an audience. So PewDiePie started playing Amnesia, and it just took off because it was a sit back, relax, eat something, and just watch this fucking, you know, university student, the Swedish university student, get fucking shit scared at these games. And it was great. It was fantastic. I loved every part of it, that playthrough. And
so you used the drain sewers as a
he really did good for Amnesia as well. The sales of it, you know, the reach of the game, because it was only an indie game at the time. Frictional games are still small. And, you know, they still are relatively small, but we're talking like loads smaller. Even with the success of Penumbra. This only really meant that Frictional got the monetary backing that they needed.
We're almost there.
So, yeah, they were still really small at the time, and PewDiePie really helped this game. It's what brought this game to my attention, why I started playing it, and I absolutely adore this game. I'm so glad that I know of this game. And right about this part, actually, I was talking about the modability of the game. You know, as you can see, I tried talking over this gameplay here, but as you can tell, I was getting distracted by everything, not really progressing that much, stumbling there and there. But yeah, I do apologise about that. I don't know why. I'll try and fix it for next time. Whatever. So yeah, this game is just, you know, absolutely amazing for its modding community. Even today, even in 2017, people are still making amazing mods. I remember a few highlights of the mods that came out during this game with things like White Knight and Dark Room. Two totally different, like the different sides to the same coin. A Dark Room and White Knight. White Knight was known for its what's the word now? Just how revolutionary it was, what it did with such little resources, really. I mean, yeah, game engine is a pretty big resource to have still, but you get where I'm coming from. And then Darkroom just totally took the satirical approach to modding and kind of really played with that idea. And those were gems. Those two were gems in their own different ways. Another good custom story, by the way, is followed by death. But yeah, this opened my eyes to the whole modding thing as well, because Amnesia wasn't really difficult to mod. The Frictional games themselves released all the tools that you needed to be able to create your own levels, and they said that you can, you know, re-release, even like do full conversions of the game with their own content and not really suffer because of it. They said they were really open-minded about it. You could use all the game's resources, things like that. I was like, yeah, I'll hop on board. It really inspired me, should I say. This was, I don't know, back in 2012, I think, that I started modding this game. Yeah, I was pretty young at the time. I had no fucking clue what I was doing, but I was loving it. It was great. It was a good time. And I learned a lot about game modding and stuff, just in general. The etiquette behind making a game is not just learning how to use the tools, which is what Amnesia taught me. It's much further than that. I can see why these things cost, like AAA games cost millions to make, because you need separate teams to do all of this stuff, because it is really hard to do as just one or a few people. And I appreciate what Frictional did for both its game and its community. And I love it to bits. Like, this was a simple game, but its community, the ideas behind it, everything, the developers, how supportive they were great. It was absolutely amazing. And you know, another thing, another topic that I got into was I'd like a sequel to this game. I really would. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm wandering around here, it's because I got really stuck on this part. Like, I totally didn't realise that the other bridge was working, and all I had to do was pull the right lever to be able to get into the next area. I think I do it now, actually. Yeah. So I got into the next area, and even then I still get stuck in the next area trying to talk and play the game. But yeah, I'd like a sequel to this game. I said that it'd be really good if they released something along the lines of what happened to Daniel during his time before he got to Brennenburg. You see notes of it throughout the story. It's part of the storyline about what happened and where he got the orb. Something along those lines. But in all fairness, I don't think it'd be right continuing directly on for this story. I think because the jump in technology would just be jarring. Like, from moving from HPL2, which was the engine that Amnesia was made on, which HPL revision 3, which Soma was made on, and then HPL4, which I'm guessing would what Frictional Games would do, you know, make a new revision of their engine to support, you know, better textures, you know, better resource management in the game, support new APIs and things like that. I think that the differences in technology would just be a bit too jarring. So I don't think it'd be good directly, like as a sequel to Amnesia: The Dark Descent. It would fit in narrative-wise, and I'd love it. It'd still be great narrative-wise, but it just wouldn't fit in with the rest of the actual gameplay. And at the end of the day, that's what the game is about. It's core gameplay, entertaining the person who's on the other end playing it. And yeah, I think they should make another game for Amnesia. I looked it up at some point in this. You'll see me scrolling through the Steam web browser, having a look at what I did, what Frictional are doing now. And they're making two different games at the same time to be able to be a bit more ambitious and steer away from the whole Amnesia hype that they had going on, which is fair enough. It's fair enough. They want to move in different directions. Yes, yeah, I start doing it here now, and yeah, I'd like to see what they could do with a new Amnesia game. And I think they'd be really good, even though it could just be, if they did release it, I think it'd just be like capitalising on Amnesia's success, which wouldn't really work as well, because, you know, Amnesia was just kind of the right game at the right time kind of thing. It was just like flooding water back into the drought that was, you know, the first-person shooter console gaming dominated market.
There is no denying,
and I don't think they get that same sort of success reproducing Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
I'm not surprised.
But I think they could do it somehow. I don't doubt the minds in Frictional Games, because they are a bunch of really, really intelligent people. I've talked to them myself on the Frictional Games forum back in the day when Cry was actually a part of it. I messaged him a lot about the time when I was creating the mod. He was a really nice guy, actually, and I don't doubt that he still is Ryan. Yeah, those were some different times. Him talking about... we were just having a pretty personal conversation, actually, because I was having trouble making my mod. I didn't want to finish it. I'd wonder if he'd, you know, even play it to just get it out there. Because I really like to show off my creativity, even totally disregarding how young I was and how naive I was to the whole game making process. It was still kind of a massive learning curve for me. But anyway, back on topic. I really would like a new Amnesia game. I think it'd be better than Soma. Soma did well in its own regard, but like Frictional even said themselves, I think it was a bit too sci-fi for its own good. The reason why Amnesia gelled together so well was because it was it kind of into the past sort of things, because this is set in like the 16th century, I think. 19th century, whatever. But yeah, it's in the past, you know. We know roughly about what happened. We don't need to explain all the technologies and stuff because we know about it. So that could let us could let us delve a bit deeper into the actual story of the game, and why everything's happening, as opposed to the lore around all the technology and stuff that was surrounding the play like it was in Soma. And that's why Amnesia gelled with itself a bit more than Soma did. Well, in my opinion anyway. I'm not saying this is solid, hard fact. This is entirely my opinion. This video is a bit of a rambly one. I've not scripted this at all. I'm doing this at like 12:25 in the morning. Not in the afternoon, in the morning. So I just kind of wanted to make a video on this. But yeah, I do like Soma, don't get me wrong. It is such a good showcase of where Frictional came from in the first place, and Soma did well for itself. It's why Frictional can now afford to make 2 games at once and become a bit more creatively ambitious, which I'm really, really happy about. I started playing Penumbra back in those days, and then we had Amnesia, and then Soma. And I'm really happy for them. But yeah, I think they'd benefit more from an Amnesia sequel, because it's a lot more well known is Amnesia than Soma. I think people kind of tuned in for the next Amnesia sequel, and even though A Machine for Pigs came out, I don't really think that was what everyone was looking for. Amnesia and Machine for Pigs was lacking, to be fair.
Using my orb,
it lacked the physics, the prop physics that Amnesia the Dark Descent did, which gave the Dark Descent a lot of its character, and I loved it for that. The whole character that it gave itself, because you could interact with the environment so good. It was such a wealthy, rich environment, unlike A Machine for Pigs, where a lot of the props were static.
The blue light was stained by strains of red, and the walls burst with pulsating tissue.
Sorry, I'm just getting distracted by the gameplay here.
Quickly covered the orb with some cloth, and the
yeah, another thing about A Machine for Pigs, which I didn't really like, was the storyline was a bit too crumbly and hollow. Didn't really tie any knots in the end either. I'm not going to spoil it, but it just didn't really do it for me, and for a lot of other people either. We were all kind of looking online. It was ominous for the sake of being ominous, and I didn't like that. You know, Amnesia's storyline gelled together at the end. It was a bit obvious and predictable, but at the end of the day, it worked, and that's what I loved. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm gushing a bit. Yeah, I love this game. I really do. But yeah, I think they should try and do something. Return to Amnesia at some point. I know they don't want it. They said in an article, well, in an interview that they had, which was wrote then in an online article, that they don't really want to be tied down with Amnesia. They said they wanted to experiment a bit more, like I said previously, which is fine with me. But at the same time, I think they should return to this at some point and do something with it. Because it's a fantastic fucking game, and it's so well, and I'd buy the shit out of it immediately, regardless if it was like AAA 60 quid price. I'd still pay it. Yeah, so I think that's around about as much as I have to say on the game. In the last, the last thing I really wanted to say was, it's stuff about my channel. I want to start making a lot more gaming oriented content. I'm sorry I haven't been making more music content. I haven't been doing that because I've not really found anything which I would have liked to do a cover of, and I've been more compelled recently to make gaming related content. I've just been getting into Dark Souls 3 recently. I'm thinking we could play a bit of that. I'm not an expert at the game. I don't know everything. I look at walkthroughs. I don't spoil it for myself, but I look at walkthroughs. I'm not great at the game, but I love playing it, and I hope I can share that experience with you guys. Along with any other games and suggestions you might throw me out there, as well as doing my music stuff on the side, because I love doing that as well. I just don't run into the motivation to do it and do it well often, which is sad and disappointing. But I do want to keep releasing content on this channel because I do love making content for this channel. I like making content for everyone out there on the internet to enjoy. And I hope that I could start making content, people start enjoying it, and then if it takes off from there, maybe we can start doing some live streams. We could get everyone together in a nice community, have a great time, just kind of forget about general shit, because I'm doing this as my escapism as well. I love making content for people to enjoy, and I think that going down the games route, however overdone it seems to be right now, would be the best way to do it, because even though there is a lot of content around surrounding games, I feel like the personalities of the people behind the camera never make it dry for a second. Like, for example, I watch, PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, Merc Music, Marley 13, and all these people are gamers, and 3 of them play similar games, but I still watch them anyway because the personalities just make it a lot better. And obviously I'm not going to be as sincere as I am now in this video if I was going to make short, snappy, nice content in surrounding like Dark Souls and things like that. But yeah, I think that's the next move I should make on this channel, and I'm going to keep creating this content, and hopefully the people that enjoy my music videos will come across these other gaming videos and stay for good. And on that note, actually, I'd like to thank a lot of people, and I'm speaking like almost 6,500 views on my E1M1 cover, which I'm really, really happy about. I've got to thank a few random people on Reddit there for sharing my post, because I'm pretty sure that's where most of the audience came from, so I'm really, really happy about that. I'm thanking everyone, every single person there that contributed towards that view count, and we got so much positive feedback, and it was just amazing. For the first time I felt like I was doing something that I loved, like, thoroughly. I could do this all day, every day, for the rest of my fucking life, because the amount of happiness that I got out of doing something like that was just amazing. And I'd be more than happy to entertain any amount of people doing that sort of stuff for the rest of my life. Even if it was just a small following, I'm grateful for the small following that returned to my channel. If you've returned to my channel from those videos, then I'm happy, I'm grateful. Thanks for being here. Honestly, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I'd like to create more content surrounding that. I feel like this is really the time to start getting into that, because I've not had a great time recently, and I'd like to be able to just have some place to vent myself. And I think YouTube is the best way to do it. It's creative, and there's many, many people on there, and hopefully we can all have a really, really good time together. So I think that's about all I have to say in this video anyway. I'm sorry it's been so long, and I hope you've stayed around enough to sit and enjoy the video. But I will start making more content, and there will be more to come. I just have to get my life in gear and see what I have to do. I have weekends off now to start making more content, so hopefully everything's gonna go good from there. And I don't have a closer, but I guess I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye now.